Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are delighted that you made time to join us for the Africa Climate Summit. I take this opportunity to welcome you all today as we review our role in implementing sustainable urban mobility. The population in this city of Nairobi is estimated to be approximately 4.4 million as per the 2019 census, while the 5 counties that make up Nairobi metropolitan area have a combined population of 10.4 million, a fifth of Kenyan population. Urbanization in Kenya is a key opportunity for economic growth, but also poses an urgent need to address gaps in our urban transport infrastructure. Residents of Nairobi and other Kenyan cities predominantly rely on sustainable modes. Public transport carries 41% of trips, while walking accounts for 40% of daily travel. Yet for too many years, urban transport investment have prioritized a minority who use private cars. Only 13% of journeys are made by personal/private cars in Nairobi, and in our second largest city of Mombasa, only 3% of residents use private cars. For many years, planning efforts and investment have tended to focus on building wider roads and urban highways that only benefit motorists, with a lack of consideration for lower carbon modes. Roads have been built for cars rather than the people. As a result, the transport sector is heavily responsible for emission of harmful pollutants that contribute to public health issues in cities, including 61% of nitrogen oxide pollution and 39% of harmful fine particulates. Air pollution, in turn, causes over 5,400 premature deaths in the country. In addition, transport is responsible for 20% of the dioxide emission in Kenya. Despite the large number of trips by active modes, pedestrians and cyclists historically have not been considered as rightful road users when we design urban streets. Pedestrians and cyclists face daily risks on streets that lack proper walkways, crossings, and cycle tracks. As a result, we lost 1,743 pedestrians and cyclists in traffic crashes across the country in the year 2022. Public transport in Kenya is dominated by small occupancy, privately owned matatus. Service quality is poor, characterized by inefficient routes, old vehicles, inadequate fleet to meet demand, long waiting times, and slow journeys due to traffic jams. Consequently, more and more people are opting to switch to private cars, leading to a rise in emissions and worsening congestion. As outlined in our National Climate Change Action Plan, an integrated national transport policy, Kenya is committed to changing the way we plan our urban mobility. Moving forward, our government will focus on improving public transport, walking, and cycling to enhance mobility and dignity for common Kenyans. This people-centered investment responds to the core needs of our citizens and also helps us cut greenhouse emissions. A high-quality mass rapid transit network is the backbone of an efficient urban mobility system. In our move to encourage a shift from cars to buses, the government has 5 planned BRT corridors in Nairobi. With the Line 2 pilot corridor currently under construction, we expect to launch the system by the end of 2024. The government has secured financing from Korean Exim Bank for a BRT Line 5 and signed a framework agreement with the European Union for Line 3. We are planning a BRT to enhance mobility in the coastal city of Mombasa. To ensure local ownership of BRT system, we are engaging with the existing paratransit industry to upgrade services and ensure that the current operators have a stake in the running of the new systems. Our government is also upgrading Nairobi commuter rail network to offer faster and more frequent services. All of Nairobi's public transport modes will be integrated through an IT system to provide electronic fare collection and seamless customer information. Turning to active modes, We cannot continue to close our eyes to the vast group of road users who travel by foot or bicycle when designing and constructing our roads. To facilitate the use of zero-carbon active modes, all urban streets need proper shaded walkways that are accessible to all, including persons with disability. In place of car-friendly footbridges, we need safe at-grade crossings that are accessible to all. The government is working with county governments and road agencies to ensure we have adequate tree cover along major road corridors in the country. Our cities also need complete user-friendly cycle network with physically separated cycling tracks on major corridors that allow all of our people to ride with dignity regardless of age, gender, or ability. We are in the process of updating our road design manuals to incorporate urban street design standards. We will seek support to make our roads greener and ensure that all corridors respond to the needs for NMT or non-motorized transport users. To enhance the cycling culture in our cities, we're encouraging local county government, especially in Nairobi metropolitan area and other cities, to implement bike share systems to provide a convenient, affordable option for short trips and improve last mile access to public transport. Once streets are built to standard, we need to manage them well. We are facing major challenges in terms of unauthorized parking on walkways and cycle tracks. We need a concerted effort from law enforcers and county governments to ensure that the NMT facilities remain free of encroachments. We also plan to institute an instant fine system to enhance compliance with the traffic rules and prevent crashes. To this end, the pilot stage of this project is ongoing, and we hope to roll out by the beginning of next year. In addition, we need to make sure that the car drivers pay a price that reflects the value of the space they occupy. We will engage stakeholders to review parking fees, to create incentives for electric mobility, and institute an IT-based enforcement mechanism to encourage a shift from cars to from current cars to lower carbon modes. Finally, our government has initiated an array of policies to support the rollout of e-mobility, including fiscal incentives and regulatory reforms. Already, we have 20 electric buses and over 1,500 electric motorcycles, and we are planning to make sure that these motorcycles reach an ambitious program of having 100,000 motorcycles in the next 6 months operating in Kenya. My ministry has established a national electric mobility task force to develop national electric mobility policy to guide the e-mobility. This task force is supposed to return its report within the next 6 months, together with draft legislation and policy. Our government also will institute regulations to ensure the safety of motorcycle riders and pillion passengers, including mandatory use of helmets and reflector jackets, a cap on speed limits, and a strict adherence to traffic regulations. Transport is a shared function between national and county governments or local governments in this context, in an international community context. Therefore, we need better intergovernmental coordination and alignment between our national road agencies and the city and county governments. Towards this end, the government has established an intergovernmental transport consultation framework. We are also working to strengthen the capacity and fiscal independence of the county governments so that they can manage their own transport systems. We are in the process of reviewing the legal framework to make it more responsive to the Intergovernmental Consultative Forum. In conclusion, we need to take urgent steps to improve the state of mobility in African cities through bus sector modernization, investment in BRT, and other forms of mass rapid transit, and provision of walking and cycling facilities. We commit that all new roads will have smart designs with proper non-motorized transport infrastructure. We also need to adopt a policy reform to encourage electrification and establish a clear path towards local manufacturing of e-buses, e-vehicles, e-motorcycles, e-bicycles, and bicycles. In Kenya, we commit to having a high-capacity operational BRT on Thika Road by the end of financial year, in the end of the 2024 calendar year. In addition, before the end of this year, we will enter a financing agreement with the European Investment Bank, and we have agreed with the Vice President here that we should do everything to ensure that by before the end of October, we will have signed this agreement, AFD, EU, and on BRT Line 3 in Nairobi. In line with our administration's commitment to pursuing a people-centered approach to mobility investment, Kenya pledges to progressively grow urban transport capital financing to mass rapid transit, walking, and cycling progressively to 40% of all the spending on urban transport by the financial year 2027. 2027-2028. We will also work towards improving coordination among national and local agencies in spearheading quality urban transport systems. I wish to take this opportunity to thank you and thank the various governments and institutions represented here, including the African Union, African Development Bank, European Investment Bank, and Institute of Transportation Development Policy for their support in transforming urban mobility systems in Kenya. I thank you.